ace of spades?
Oh shit.
Did you see this?
Imagine this. You have a deck of cards. Then any card is named, and that card appears blistered on your fingertips. And you see how my finger glows kind of red? If it was this hot from like heat, it would be blistering my finger. This is what's crazy. I don't feel any pain, but you thought of any card?
No, how did you do that? Oh my God! Didn't. No way! How did you do that? Yeah, my flash?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you put your hand out? Just like a table? I'm gonna take this. You're thinking of one card that's in 52 cards. You see how when I put my finger on this, my finger like kind of glows red a little bit? We know if that was actual fire or heat, that would blister my skin, right?
Yes.
Watch. But this is so odd. The two, it almost looks like a two of spades.
What is that?
So this is the basic overview. You have an invisible gimmick on the back of any deck of cards. This is your method 1 gimmick. It has all the needed imprints to get the blisters. You're able to, just by feel, move your fingers to the correct imprint, and when you press, you will now be able to, on your first finger and middle finger, while it looks like the deck is just laying on your hand, get a pseudo blister. And when they look at it, there will be a very convincing imprint that there's a blister on your hand, on your fingers, of their thought of item. We're gonna rip it open and get into it. Inside, you'll notice that there is a piece of plexiglass that's been precision machined that we need to remove the protective film. And also, there is a piece of double-sided adhesive tape. So with these two items, you're gonna go ahead and apply it to your box. Peel the protective film slowly around the intricate cut numbers so you make sure not to damage your gimmick. I've got my double-sided adhesive and my method 1 gimmick with the film peeled off. Place your double-sided adhesive somewhere in the center among the design of the box. I put it right in the center of the spade. Now that the double-sided adhesive is there, I'm going to place the method 1 gimmick with the ace at the top right-hand corner. So with that orientation, I'm now going to place it in the center border of the box, and you'll notice it just sort of disappear into the design. This is how you're going to store your gimmick. Now let's learn how to find the correct imprint when you need it. Imagine that your method 1 gimmick is already applied like you learned, and imagine you can see through the box, just like this. This is what you would see. You would see your method 1 gimmick on the bottom. You always start at the ace so you know your beginning position, and you're only gonna move in straight lines. So let's say it was a 3. Your first finger moves over to 2 and then to 3. That's a straight line. Let's say it was a 7. You'd move down to 5, then across to 6, and then over to 7. So let's say it was 10. I would move down to 5, down to 9, over to 10, and then press. And you'll notice after pressing for about 1 to 2 seconds, you can get the imprint. So the first imprint, the number, is gonna go on your first finger. The second imprint, the suit, will go on your middle finger. So in real time, let's say it was the 4 of hearts. I would go 2, 3, 4, press, and then move down, find the bottom line, and then move over to heart, and then press, just like that, and you'd get the imprint.
Start from the top.
So this is the basic routine using method 1. You bring out your cards with the method 1 gimmick just laying flat on your hand. You have someone name a card. You say, if I asked you to name a card, what would that card be? They're like, let's say 5 of clubs. So immediately when they start to name it, I start with my first finger. You guys already know how to find the imprint. Go back to that part of the video if you need to. I'm gonna immediately with my first finger start going to 5 and start pressing. As soon as I find the 5, I say, hey, do you have an iPhone? Do you have a phone on you? They say yes. I say, pull it out and turn on your flashlight. By now, I already have the imprint. So now I'm gonna move down to the suits. So my middle finger goes all the way down to the suits, okay? You know how to find this. You've already learned. So now your middle finger is already getting the suit as they're getting their phone out. Now to get your phone out of the pocket, it takes about 5 to 7 seconds. So then they'll turn on their light, and at this point, you have the imprint. So now I can either put the deck away or say, put your hand out like a table and hold on to the cards. At that point, I trade objects. I say, you hold onto the deck like this. I'm gonna place it in my pocket for now. And then you begin to say, look how my fingers glow. It's a little bright out here, but you say, if this was caused from fire, my fingers would be blistering and burning. You say, I don't feel any pain. And then you slowly begin to show them, you can use the phone light to then reveal the imprint. So the key points about this are that you need to gain their imagination and their attention with making your fingers glow. And then in your own words, say something along the lines of, if this were real heat and my fingers were that hot, it would burn and blister. You need the subtle thinking of the, oh, a blister, to come into mind, so when they see it later, they make the connection. And once you're here, I usually don't say, look, it's the 5 of clubs. But what you can say is you can say, this is so odd. It almost begins to look like, I don't know, can you see this? And at that point, you make them convince you that it's on your fingers and that that's the correct one. Because a trick or an illusion, when the magician lies to the spectator, is okay. But when you can get the spectator to lie to themselves, it becomes a much, much stronger illusion. So that's the basic routine. You can just practice it, work on the timing, work on the flow, and it's very, very easy. So I wanted to go over some really basic tips about the basic routine that's provided here. You need to trust the misdirection and how far ahead you are, because right up until their phone's out, the effect hasn't started. So trust the misdirection of them reaching into their pocket to get their phone and turn on their flashlight, and don't get nervous. Just go slow and confidently move between each tactile number so that you're sure of where your positioning is at. Because since you're not looking, it's very, very important that you don't get flustered and that your confidence stays calm and collected. So here's an extra routine idea. You'll notice on your gimmick that there's an extra 1 and 0 next to the king. Now, what this allows you to do for the people that want to have a slightly different presentation, you can either use numbers, 2-digit numbers, by just moving and doing the same thing, and you can do in any card at any number that's kind of fun. If you're in a stack, so say Tamariz or Size Stebbins, as long as you know the entire order of the deck, then when they name a card, say Jack of Hearts, instead of imprinting the card itself, I'm going to imprint the corresponding number. So in Tamariz, I know the number is 20. So what I would do is the same iPhone presentation. I would say name a card. I would then imprint the number 20 with 2 and 0 on my fingers. And then I would do the same presentation of placing the cards in their hand using the iPhone light, but then the reveal is then a different feeling. So it becomes, wait, I see a number on my fingers. Maybe that means something. count down that amount of cards. So it's another way to go about it. I'm sure you can even just do it boldly with just saying, think of a number, and you could do it. But I personally like the idea of kind of mixing it with a plot like the any card at any number. Please watch through all the credit list and all the credits that I've added to this video. The Blister plot has been explored by a lot of smart magicians, and I want to make sure that if you're interested in the plot, that you do your own research and you find the best version of it for you. For me, this fills all the boxes and the values that I like in a trick. But maybe for you, there might be another jumping point or a leapfrog from this method into something else in the credits. So make sure that you check them out. Thank you for supporting me. Enjoy.